Record. Okay, so let's get started. Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us. Um, yeah, we're really excited to talk about microdosing all of the time with anyone. So thanks for your interest. So my name's Lana, and yeah, actually a certified professional life coach. I have 3 coaching certifications, so that's what I do for a living. I coach clients and mostly people who are interested in psychedelics or working with psychedelics or are psychedelic curious and are kind of on this path. I absolutely love what I do so much. It's taken me so many years to find a really fulfilling path for myself in what I do. And I can finally say that I look at my calendar now and I just love everything that I have going on. And the work I do is very fulfilling. And then I also have a podcast that's doing really well. It's top charting. It's one of the top 5% podcasts in the world, apparently. And it's called Modern Psychedelics, where we really explore how we can use psychedelics to engage more deeply in life. Hey, Lori, welcome back. So we're going to record this after all. Is that okay with you? Okay, cool. Thanks for the permission. Yeah, so that's me. I'll pass it over to Jenny.
Oops, my calendar notifications are on. Yeah, so my name's Janelle. I go by Jenny sometimes. I've been working in the psychedelic space for almost 7 years now, which is crazy. Started when I was 21. And as well, I've been working with plant medicine at since a similar age. I've been working in content marketing, so a lot of the work I've been doing is around psychedelic education, pushing out content to destigmatize psychedelics and also provide education around the safe, intentional use of psychedelics. I also have my own business, so I create psychedelic integration journals. So I have a microdosing journal and a integration journal, for macrodosing experiences,
What it looks
as
like.
well as a travel. Yeah. Thanks, Anna. As well as a travel journal, which I started before COVID. And so the psychedelic journals were actually my pivot when COVID hit and no one was traveling. So
Yes.
yeah, and now I've been working with Lana on a program, and so we're like super excited about this new offering.
Yeah, and we're actually really good friends outside of like work too. So yeah, we love working together. So yeah, we would love to hear from the people who are here live. Tell us, what made you say yes to this mastermind? What is your interest around microdosing or psychedelics, and also what do you do for work for your businesses? Presumably all of you are entrepreneurs or have your own business in some capacity. So we would love to hear from you in the chat about what's pulling you to spend some time with us today, because we're so grateful that you're here.
Yeah, or
So
if people want to turn their videos on and say it out loud, like I think we have such a small group that we can be more intimate if we'd like. So yeah,
yeah,
feel free to pop on.
yeah. I don't know if Lori's
Oh,
wanting to
Lori,
speak
we can't
there,
hear
but we
you.
can't hear you. Yeah.
It's weird. Maybe your headphones aren't synced through your Bluetooth or something. I have that issue with my headphones sometimes. Um,
Yeah, there's
anyone else?
a lot of hype around microdosing psychedelics right now. So we're excited to share with you guys. What's your experience with it? Let us know. Let us know in the chat, or Lori wants to come on, or anyone else. So yeah, I'm having issues with my last Zoom, so I will stick with chat. Okay, cool. Yeah. Drop stuff in the chat and we'll call it out as we go along. But yeah, this is an intimate group. So at any time, like we're pretty casual. We don't want to just talk at you guys. So if at any time you have any questions or comments or anything you want to share, please feel free. We both really value connection and connecting with people. So yeah.
Sweet. Okay, cool. Well, maybe we can go into yeah, like how this kind of flow will go, and then we'll have a Q&A, and then we'll move into We're going to talk about a little bit about our program at the end of this, but there's no pressure from anyone to stay on. We just want to share more about what we're working on. So this is just an opportunity for anyone to add, like we'll give you more information about microdosing, how we're using it in our businesses. And then once you ask your questions, then we'll go into talking about the program that we're designing. So yeah. Okay, so in the chat, who here has microdosed previously? Can you just put in like me or like I have or I haven't into the chat
Yes
just so
or
we can get
no.
a sense?
Yeah. Okay, so Lori has
Okay, Lori
microdose.
has.
Kyle has. Cool. Cool. And then Sylvia and Raji, have you, if you can't reply, if you're driving or something, that's cool.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And then is there anything for anyone here that you feel particularly stuck on in your business? Is there anything in your business that you feel like you can't move forward with, or like you're just kind of like hitting a wall against, or maybe not motivated in? Let us know in the chat. And I'm sure we will be able to identify with any of your challenges because we have also been through so much as business owners. So let us know in the chat. And then while you guys have a think on that, Jenny, why don't you explain a little bit about how you've utilized microdosing as a business owner?
Yeah, totally. So I like to think of microdosing as a practice and a skill. So it's something just like yoga or meditation or journaling practice. It's something that we can incorporate into our lives just to amplify the work that we're already doing. So we would never want to like look at it like we're reaching for it or we need it or we are like escaping. And so we're just gonna like microdose just because we think it'll be like a magic pill and it'll help everything, right? So with that, like I've utilized microdosing in the past. And when I say utilizing, I like to say like instead of using the word use because we use tools, I like to say that we're, developing a relationship with the medicine. And so we're working with it uh, instead of like we're just taking from it because these medicines
Mm.
also give back to us. So for me, I started microdosing when I was actually creating the first journal that I was working on. And I found that it helped me really tune into not only the productivity side of things, like I was able to just like stay on task and set my like cross off my to-do list every day and like really just dive into this productivity and flow state while launching and like creating this kind of product. Um, it also helped me like trust myself and reassure myself because birthing something out into the world is like such an intimidating process. And so there's like a lot of like self-doubt that came in. And while I was microdosing, I had a lot more confidence and courage to be like, you know what, like this is something that people need. And I'm doing the world a favor by offering this product to them.
Yeah, sorry, I was just typing to Lori in the chat here. Yeah, let us know. Like, yeah, she's just saying that the last 3 years have been really tough. Um,
Mm,
and she would like help getting past the blocks that I have created for myself. So, yeah, absolutely. Especially for small business owners, it seems like it's only the big businesses and big box stores that have been thriving over the last 3 years.
hmm
So, please share with us what are those blocks specifically? Like, what is it that you feel is that wall? What is that wall that's keeping you from going forward? Yeah. And then, so did you get into the creative problem solving piece, Jenny?
mm, no.
No.
We wanted to go into managing overwhelm during launches.
Okay, cool.
So
Yeah.
do you want to speak more about that and flow
Yeah.
state?
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, there's these moments in life when we just like look at our calendar or we just know that the next few months ahead are going to be so full and there's so much potential for getting overwhelmed. And there's even this fear of what if I don't show up as my best self? What if I burn out? Like all of that stuff. And the way that I used microdosing in my most recent protocol was really from that place of looking ahead and being like, okay, wow, the next few months are going to be very full. I'm really going to have to show up as my best self. Jenny and I have been not just building a program, but launching a program that we care so, so much about. So we want to give our best energy to it. So for me, that's like a perfect place as a business owner to start a microdosing protocol where you're like, I have to show up as my best self, but it's going to take a lot. And that the microdosing kind of just reduces some of that friction and helps to have your energy just fully there and fully present. As you guys might know, microdosing helps us to access the flow state. And that's when we're really able to be present for what we're doing and where genius thinking take place and where our most creative and productive output can happen. And it's when we're really focused on what's presently in front of us. This is a huge skill that is severely lacking in our society, like with these distraction devices that we all have. So, microdosing is an incredible tool to really foster that flow state and to manage overwhelm during busy seasons like launches and building programs. So yeah, I've had great success with I microdosed LSD for about 2 months during this really hectic period. And like, wow, I showed up so much for everything I was doing. And I'm so grateful for this practice. Yeah. Do you have anything to add to that around managing the overwhelm?
No, I think you touched on that. I think too, like with mood and energy, that's where and I guess we can talk about the difference between microdosing LSD and psilocybin when we go down further, but I do find that my mood is definitely enhanced when microdosing, and my interactions with my coworkers or like my teammates are definitely more positive. So, and then Lana and I were speaking about this morning of like, okay, so that doesn't always need to be the case when you're microdosing, but like before you start a microdosing protocol, you're a different person. And then it brings on all these awarenesses. And then when you have like the interactions that you have, you're like, oh, this can always be like this. So then the next time you can kind of like flow through those interactions while not being on a microdose. So it's kind of like it teaches you that the capacity and the ability is there. And then you're able to like bring that into the day to day when you're not. So you actually end up microdosing less every year because it's teaching you so much. So just wanted to touch on that. And maybe I'll talk about the last bullet here too, is just like um, supporting new habits. So psychedelics are able to increase our neuroplasticity, even in small amounts. So this helps us to actually like help rewire the brain and move us into us and our business forward. So it stops the thought patterns that kind of hold us in that stuck phase.
Yeah, as you guys know, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, especially if you're doing something that you love and care about so much, like it really motivates you again to show up as your highest, most energetic, most best self, to really pour everything that you've got into your creation, into your business, whether that's a podcast like me or showing up for your clients in like ways that I do, or whether you're working on something really creative like Jenny and building a journal, or whether you're an artist and wanting to share your work with the world, right? If you're designing something, whatever you're doing, chances are that you took this path of entrepreneurship because you believe that there is something within you to share with the world. And in order to share that in the highest expression, it really takes you being in your highest expression. So building healthy habits, getting enough sleep, like fueling our bodies in ways that work for us, managing screen time, getting outside, movement, like all of these healthy habits are even more important for entrepreneurs than non-entrepreneurs, I think, because like it is up to us to stay in tip-top shape so that not only we can thrive, but so that the expression of our business can also thrive. So microdosing is incredible for breaking those habits that aren't supporting you. So to give you guys an example, for me, like I just have so much, I really lack energy at the end of long days, and sometimes I will just like sit on the couch and watch TV, and like, well, that's great. Sometimes I don't want to do it every night, and I notice that when I'm microdosing, it gives me that space to be present and self-reflect about like whether this is what's really right for me. And I finished my microdosing protocol and I'm doing it so much less often now. And I'm choosing to like pick up sewing or read a book or do something that really continues to fuel me instead of drain my energy. And energy is something I talk a lot about. Um, but yeah, it really helps to break those habits that are not supporting us and then adapt the ones that are supporting us, those ones that are going to move us forward, that are going to help us, and to really reflect on like what those right ones are for us as individuals, because we're all so unique, just like your business is an expression of you as a unique person. So yeah, uh, great for doing that, if personally and in business. Yeah. So I just want to go back to the chat. So Lori said motivation, lack of creativity in the head. Ooh, yeah, I get that. And stuck in the box/comfort zone. I think I really would like to share a recent podcast that I recorded with you, Lori, if you'd like to hear it. It's about psychedelics for creativity and for problem solving. And my guest really goes into the 5 P's of creativity and how we can utilize those with psychedelics in order to create the space in the mind for new ideas to come through. And I find with, sorry, my cat is meowing. And I find that with microdosing, even just because it facilitates such a strong presence and that access to flow state, it naturally creates space in the mind for all of those distractions to kind of clear so that your mind is actually open, and you might be like on a microdosing day like washing dishes or taking a shower. This happens to me all the time, and you're like, I've never thought about it that way. You like run to your computer
So
and you're
true.
like, okay, I have to like write this down. So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we call those flash insights in the
Yeah.
intention journal.
Flash
Um,
insights. Yeah.
mhm. Okay, should we go into some microdosing
Yes.
background?
Yes. And while you
Okay,
do that, I'm going to put this podcast episode for Lori and anyone else in the chat because I think it'll be really useful.
okay, awesome. So, um, how to microdose. If you have microdosed before, this might be beneficial. You might learn something new. So I'm going to go just do like a higher level kind of overview of microdosing. So microdosing is usually sub-perceptual. So meaning you are not just walking around your house super high. You will not see visuals. It is a very, very, very small dose. And you are usually doing it within a 4 to 8 week framework, and not microdosing every single day because we would develop a tolerance that would not be great for our serotonin levels in our mind and in our guts as well. So there are 2 main protocols that most people do. One is the Fadiman protocol. So that's taking 1 microdose and then taking 2 days off to reflect and integrate and then repeating. The Stamets stack or the Stamets protocol includes microdosing 5 days on and 2 days off. So usually people that microdose mushrooms will do the Stamets stack or the Stamets protocol, and those who are microdosing LSD prefer the Fadiman, but they are like you can interchange them. Um, I also encourage like intuitive dosing. So there are like many other protocols that people follow. I personally microdose around my cycle to reduce period pain. It's been like this life hack that I've discovered, and it's been completely life changing. So, but I wouldn't do that for like 8 weeks, So I do it, 2 to 3 weeks at a time, and then I take a break for a few months. And so it's not every single cycle. So it's really like tuning into your body and how you're feeling, reflecting on that, and then seeing, okay, well, maybe the next time I do a protocol, I'll try this or whatever. It's your own self experiment, which I think is so beautiful because it is a practice. So practice is something you continue to build upon. Another thing I like to talk about is that there are alternatives to psychedelics if you want to microdose legally. So a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to microdose, like that's illegal. And that's totally fair and that's totally valid. Since Lana and I are both in Canada, cannabis is legal. So cannabis is actually a beautiful medicine to microdose. Usually not smoking because it's hard to get your dosage right, but through tinctures or edibles. And then there's also kanna, which is a plant in South Africa, and kratom, and other medicinal mushrooms, also cacao. So when we think about microdosing, we can think about it as like any type of plant. We can microdose caffeine. We can even microdose, and that might even be way more healthier for our adrenals rather than, ingesting 2 or 3 cups of coffee every day. Right. So I just wanted to highlight that, and also highlight the piece around sustainability. And so being very like aware of where you're getting your source, just because there are some sustainability pieces, and kratom actually has, if you have addictive tendencies, that might be not be the one for you. But Kana is totally legal and is very, very safe microdosing medicine. So with the framework, a lot of the reasons why I created the intention journal that I have, which is a microdosing journal, is because I talked to like so many microdosers, and they were like, I just fall out of the like habit of it. Like I forget to take my dose. I'm not held accountable. Um, I don't really know if it's working. I don't know if it's doing anything for me. And so that's why like having a journal or a buddy that you're doing it with, or a community that you're doing it with, is like definitely so helpful, because it holds you accountable, and then you're able to really get like the juicy stuff and benefits out of it. So it's like, what patterns are you noticing? When are you most productive, and when can you like optimize those productivity hours for yourself? So I know that I'm way more productive in the morning, so I'll make sure that I don't check my email first thing in the morning, because those are tasks I can do when I'm more tired. So it's really like tuning into how your productivity is flowing and how well you work. And that's all like microdosing helps to enhance the awareness around, this is what's working for me, this is what's not. How can I adjust? How can I tweak? How can I document? Always building, always like, yeah, just making it always even better than it is in itself already. And that's like relating to, I think, personal growth, right? Where the healing journey is never ending. And that's the beautiful part about it. So same with the microdosing journey. It's always something that you can continue to develop and learn and grow. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's I think that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you already spoke to someone, or you already spoke into the intentionality, right? How important it is to be intentional. You spoke into that at the beginning, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can go a little bit deeper into that. With being intentional, like we talked about, not feeling like you need something or reaching for this like magic pill that, we've been conditionally um pushed towards doing. And so with going into a microdosing protocol, you always want to make sure like that you're setting an intention of like, okay, why am I doing what I'm doing? Is it because I'm escaping? Is it because I'm not like happy in my life and I don't know what to do? That like I think microdosing is something that you want to really be intentional with, and being like going into with a creative problem solving mindset. If that's the case, if you're like, oh, I'm feeling really stuck, then how can I utilize microdosing to put in all these like different initiatives and set goals and be intentional with, okay, I want to get out of this stuck place, and I'm going into it with a growth mindset instead of like, oh, it's just really hard and I just need this to like get me through. So just want to be like very clear that we are always, whenever we talk about a microdosing protocol, we're talking about the intention we're putting into it, and we're reflecting on that intention every day of the protocol to really like solidify some that into our practice.
Yeah, well said. Well said. And I guess at this point, we've talked a lot at you guys. And I know that we have a small, intimate group here. So please feel free, like you guys have some time to ask us some questions or offer any reflections or insights that you're having. You have access to a professional coach and to
Mhm.
someone who has been working in the psychedelic space for 7 years, and just like collectively we both have so much information and knowledge about microdosing and psychedelics. So please feel free to ask any questions. This is really meant to be a mastermind, a time for us to like work together and connect rather than for us to really just like speak at you. Yeah, so feel free. We just talked about we just did a podcast episode about like common myths and fears around microdosing psychedelics. Um uh oh, hold on, there's a question. What type of dose are you doing in this protocol? Mm, as in what's the dosage? So it's always good to start low and slow. Dr. Jim Fadiman makes a recommendation of, I think, like as little as 0.05 grams with mushrooms. And then I forget the amount for the LSD. Do you recall what it is?
Yeah,
Like
for
how?
LSD, you can go as slow as low as 3 micrograms. Um, a microdose of LSD is between 5 and 20 micrograms. So 20 being on the quite high end of a microdose. My dose specifically is between 5 to 7 micrograms. And
Yeah.
for psilocybin, I'm usually taking 100 milligrams. Sorry, I was like, get those switch. Yeah,
Yeah, it's always good
yeah.
to just start really, really low and see how your body reacts to that. And then the first time you do it, like a Sunday is nice, or a Saturday when maybe you don't have as
Mm-hmm.
many responsibilities, even though microdosing is something that you can fully function on and work like you can work while you're microdosing. I coach clients all the time while I'm microdosing, and there should be no problems with that type of thing if you're truly taking a microdose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, since it's pretty new in North America, the dosing is pretty intuitive. There are guidelines,
Mm-hmm.
but it's always good to see how you react, and like even on different days,
Even on
taking.
different days, it depends on how much food you're eating too. Like I don't usually microdose on an empty stomach because I know that that can affect me. It'll just be stronger. So like to have consistency, like take it with a balanced meal that has like a good amount of fats and protein and carbs. So I also learned this lesson the hard way. I don't microdose with caffeine anymore. It's like a hard no because it gives me a lot of anxiety. So especially with LSD and caffeine, like LSD is a stimulant, so is caffeine, and then those two together, I'm just like, absolutely not. So just be wary of that if you're going to start a microdosing protocol. Maybe do your caffeine. And tea is usually okay, like matcha or whatever. But I find actual coffee and caffeine, yeah, maybe just space it out and do it on your reflection day or your integration day instead of on your dose day.
Yeah,
Anyone
and that's
else?
yeah, and that's another point too. Like with people, like microdosing is just so helpful across so many different things that people are struggling with. Anxiety is a really interesting one because people tend to report that either their anxiety improves or it gets worse. So that's just something to
Mhm,
be mindful of if you have an orientation towards anxiety, like really, really being mindful of not mixing the stimulants and the microdose, and then yeah, maybe going even lower than you would think.
mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else, guys? Like even around like entrepreneurship, anything, please come forth and we'd love to chat with you. Yeah. Yeah. Because we do want to spend my partner trades stocks this last year has been anxiety inducing. I was thinking this could help. Yeah, I mean, how open is he to trying it?
And yeah, we also can't recommend that anyone microdose just for legal reasons
Yeah.
as well. I mean, we could say microdosing legal plant medicines.
Yeah. Yeah, we just always want to remember that to do something like this, someone has to really have the buy-in from themselves and believe that it's what's best for them. Um,
Mhm.
even, yeah, we can always suggest and plant seeds for people, but at the end of the day, they really have to come to understanding that, this is what I want to do, and I believe this will be best for me because that really makes an impact. It's the expectancy effect,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. 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 And I think it goes without saying too, if there's any underlying like mental health conditions such as like schizophrenia, bipolarism, eating disorder, things like that, to be cautious around psychedelics.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, Sylvia has a question. Oh, let's finish Lori's here
Yeah.
too. He's somewhat resistant, even though he's done shrooms in the past, so planting a seed might lead down the path. Yeah, and I can also speak on my experience. Like, if he's okay with you doing your thing, um, sometimes when I first started microdosing, I didn't even tell people what I was doing, and they just noticed my mood, and they noticed how like light and happy and productive I was at work. And it was actually my coworkers that were like, are you doing something different? Like, what is going on? I'm like, yeah, I'm microdosing and it's amazing. And I'm just like having the best time. And then, then my boss started microdosing and then my other like, and then it was the ripple effect, right? And like now my sister was like very, very, very anti-drug, like Dare got her real good. um, and she has never ever tried a substance in her life. And she's working with a lot of childhood trauma that's like caused her to be in this victim state. And last year she reached out to me and she was like, I think like looking like I sent her some research articles and she's like, I think I want to try this. And she said it helped with her anxiety so much, right? So um
And she's coming
I
into our
think we can lead by
program
example. And
now
she's
too,
coming
right?
into our program
Yeah.
too. Yeah. So I think like we can really lead by example and um in that sense. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I
yeah.
call that energy leadership, right? So you're actually leading with your energy. You're not saying so much or
Hmm.
doing so much. It's rather like people are noticing your energy. And that's the thing that is leading them to be curious, to ask
Hmm.
questions, to notice these things about you. And that's really the most powerful type of leadership. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I'll add to that too. My mother is 63 years old and
Oh,
she's doing her second microdosing protocol
did
right
Lana
now.
also freeze for you guys, or is it just me? She's frozen.
Am I frozen? Am I back?
Oh, you did freeze. Yes, you
Okay,
froze.
I'll
Your
start
Wi-Fi's a
again.
little bit spotty.
Okay, I'll start again. Yeah, my mother is 63-year-old Eastern European, very traditional woman. She's doing her second microdosing mushrooms protocol right now. And yeah, I it just took years of planting the seeds and her seeing the results for me that made her feel ready to take that leap. And I'm telling you, like when I say Eastern
Mm,
European, like she is pretty damn traditional. So yeah, always can plant those seeds. Okay.
mhm.
Cool. Thanks, Kyle.
Bye,
He's
Kyle.
already
Thanks for
dropped off.
joining.
Cool.
Um,
Let's go to Sylvia
okay.
here, if that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So thoughts
So
on
thoughts
synthetic
on
mushrooms versus natural. I've seen more and more synthetic on the market in the last while, but personally not a fan of what I've tried. Do you have anything to say on that, Jenny?
okay, bye
Thanks, Raji.
Raji. Thanks
Bye.
for
Thanks
coming.
for coming.
Um, do I have anything to say on that? I have never tried synthetic mushrooms. Personally, I'm like, "Oh, why mess with a good thing?" I'm like, that comes from the earth. Like, I,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
I don't
especially
know.
with
But I
mushrooms
also like,
where there's not as many sustainability issues around them because they just grow
yeah,
in such abundance and we can grow them like I've grown them in our home. So yeah, I don't
yeah.
really understand the pull towards the synthetic psilocybin other than for reasons of like capitalism and patenting something that shouldn't be patented. But that's just my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah,
And it
and
is an
like, and I
opinion.
yeah, it's kind of weird that they're trying to like, yeah, I
Yeah.
think you hit the nail on the head there. There are so many different strains as well of mushrooms, and like your experience can vary what per strain you're trying. So like if you're like, oh, I really like didn't have a good time one what was your dosage? Like, did you take too many? Most people that have a bad mushroom quote unquote trip, um, they've taken too many or in the wrong set and setting, or the strain was like, too powerful. And so like 100 like milligrams of one mushroom could be like completely different if the strain is say penis envy, for example, which is like quite a strong strain. So just being like cautious of that. But yeah, I don't know about the synthetic stuff. But at the same time, I'm like, I also take LSD, so I'm not opposed to synthetics at all. And I am also pro synthetics for plant medicines that, like Lana said, are not as sustainable. For example, 5-MeO-DMT is extracted from an actual toad, and that is not sustainable the way that they're doing it. The frogs are actually going endangered. It's really, really sad. So when I went down to Mexico to work with Five, I worked with synthetic, and it's the exact same experience. So yeah, just wanted to add some context there. I
Yeah.
think synthetic would be much more of a regular experience for those scared to even try. Yeah. Yeah. Right. You have thoughts on that, Lana?
No, I think we covered it. Yeah, I think we covered it. Good
Cool.
example there with the five.
Cool.
Yeah. Any other questions from Lori or
Mm.
Sylvia?
Lori said, I'm more of a mushroom person. Are there specific strains you suggest for your clients? Lana, I'm not sure about you, but my favorite strains are golden teachers are usually very, very like a safe, consistent one. Yeah. See, Sylvia
Yeah,
said the
because
same thing.
I feel like
Um,
most of the dosing guidelines are around
yeah,
golden teachers. So
exactly.
that's why they're kind of safe to go with.
Yeah. Amazonians are what I've been taking the last couple years actually. So Amazonian are nice as well.
Yeah.
You have
I
any,
like
Lana,
B
that you
plus for
prefer?
tripping, like for doing a proper ceremony. But I
Mm,
usually use I mean, I have so many brands that I have right now, and most of them use the golden teachers. So
cool.
yeah. Yeah, so keep entering any questions that come up in the chat. And then we just want to take a few moments to speak about Flow Formula, our 8-week microdosing program that we've developed. And we actually have a few entrepreneurs and people who are wanting to build B plus, B plus. um, who want to build their psychedelic businesses who are joining us. So that's kind of what inspired us to reach out to the entrepreneurial community because we think this is a community specifically that could really benefit from microdosing within this community oriented group program. So give you guys a rundown, and I don't want to spend too much time here. I don't want this to be like sales pitchy or anything, just information if you're kind of interested in it. It's an 8-week live group program, and we have built out 8 weeks of 90-minute calls where we're really spending the first week going into the fundamentals of microdosing and giving you guys all the information you need to know about microdosing. We're giving people community trusted brands and providers for sourcing your medicine. And then we're going into a month of mindset work and core energy work. So I'm going to be leading these, and we're really going to be digging into like, what is your story and what are your values and what are the ideas and thoughts and beliefs that you have picked up, and let's just like shine the light of awareness on them and look at them and examine them and see from there where we want to move forward. It's very, very empowering, beautiful, grounded work that I'm so excited to take people through, because as entrepreneurs, those stories can really hold us back. Like when I first started my podcast, you would never guess from like hearing me speak now, but I had so many fears around using my voice. I was so blocked up. I was so afraid of saying the wrong thing, of sounding stupid, of people judging me. And through coaching and just continuing to do it and push myself, those are not my stories anymore. And that really allows me to show up really powerfully. So I really believe in this work. So we're going to
Mm,
spend week 1 microdosing fundamentals, week 2 to 5 doing like deep coaching, excavating, and writing new stories and activating our new potential. It's not actually new, it's already within us. We just want to call it forward. And then we're jumping into 2 weeks of looking at the body. So we have Jenny's going to be teaching on she's a holistic nutritionist, so she's going to be speaking on like diet and supplementation. And then we have a nervous system expert coming in. And then week 8, we're bringing it all together to create our flow formula and to really bring together everything that we've learned. The whole point of this program is to help you guys find ways to access that beautiful, juicy flow state that makes entrepreneurship so fun and so exciting and really drives it forward. So we've created this like microdosing as a tool to help us access flow state. And then we're also using a microdosing as a tool to do the program to uncover how to access the flow state in a way that works for us. So we're bringing it all together. And then we have a closing circle at the end to reflect. And yeah, I'll let Jenny speak on the community
Yeah.
aspect of the program.
Yeah, and I think a couple of things I wanted to note too, like there are a couple of people that are starting psychedelic businesses, but there are others that are starting other businesses too. So it's not, you don't need to work in the
That's
psychedelic
true.
space. It like there are people that are students, or there are like people that work a 9 to 5 at an insurance company, so it's like there are it's a mixture. And the flow formulas like that we are helping you create, like Lana and I never want to be like, this is the truth and this is how you do stuff, because that does not work and that is not how we think. So we're really like helping you develop the structure to create your unique formula. So what Lana's formula looks like is different than what my formula looks like. And then we have like this playbook at the end after the 8 weeks where we can like go back to when we're feeling stuck, when we can go back to when we're like getting ready for a big like launch or a sales call or whatever. So just wanted to touch on that. The community piece is really exciting. I've launched microdosing courses in the past with like brands that have, thousands and thousands of visitors a month. And it's been really fun to create and build this community of people that are just supporting each other. And so we'll have like a Slack channel where we have like different channels to welcome each other and talk about microdosing. All the calls will be recorded, so they'll go in there. And then something that we're doing is everyone fills out an intake form. And so in the intake form, you will be paired with little accountability groups. And so those groups will stay the same throughout the 8 weeks of the program. And that's really fun because then you're like developing these lifelong friendships with people. You're like feeling safe in a container where you can share vulnerably about what you're working through. And those people will have like similar goals or intentions as you, or maybe they like maybe have some overlap in what you do for work. So we're like really curating it so that you're paired with the right people that can help you optimize and like also act as mirrors, right? Like, our group can act as mirrors and help us reflect our wisdom back to us. So
much power in the
yeah,
group and community,
yeah,
and that's like so essential to whether you're microdosing or doing macro doses of psychedelics.
yeah,
It's super
yeah.
important.
Yeah, and I think like also saying like we are not experts in a lot of like some of these things, so we're actually pulling in experts to teach workshops. We have 4 actually guest teachers. So one is Laura Dawn, who Lana interviewed, and that's the podcast that she dropped in there. So she's going to be teaching on microdosing and flow state and creativity and leadership, and it's going to be so juicy. And then we have the psychedelic scientist, Manish Gurn, who is an expert in neuroscience. And so he is going to come in and like talk about, the actual neuroscience and the flow state and what's happening in our brain. And same with microdosing, which is going to be amazing. And then, Marisa Sturtz, she has like featured films on Gaia TV, and she's taught these storytelling workshops across the world at Burning Man in the Netherlands, things like that. And then we have Adam
She's going to
Lewis is
help
going
us
to talk
actually.
about,
Sorry, I just want to interrupt for a sec.
yeah.
She's actually going to teach module 2, where we're going to be excavating your stories and your unconscious beliefs and things that you may have picked up based on your story that might actually be
Mm-hmm.
creating those blocks. So exciting.
I've done this workshop now 4 times, and I was like, you
Wow.
need to teach this because it's so crazy. Like
Yeah.
seeing your life on a piece of paper and like weaving in the threads of like, oh, that's where I got those
Oh my
stories. Like,
gosh. I'm so excited for
incredible.
it.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then the last one is just I'll just say the last speaker is Adam Lewis, who he actually works at Othership, which is like this sauna cold plunge kind of community. I guess it's a like organization. They're going to be all across North America soon. They've gotten funding, and so he's going to be talking about the regulating your nervous system and how you can do that with breath work. So we'll also have like a breath work workshop in the course. So it's definitely like super loaded. We don't want to take up too much more of your time, but if anyone has any questions about the
We're so
program,
excited about this.
feel
We could
free.
ramble on. So
Yeah.
we'll stop
Yeah.
here. Thank you
Yeah,
so
we'll
much
stop now.
for
Yeah.
being here. We actually have for people who are live and then also watching the replay, so grateful that you guys took the time to connect with us. We really value connecting with humans who are into psychedelics. You know, whether you join the program or not, we're grateful for your time. And we created a code at Facebook, and that'll get you $100 off of the program if you happen to be interested in joining it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, drop them in the chat. We'll send a follow-up email with some resources for you guys actually. And yeah, we're just so excited. Thanks for all your expertise, ladies. I have to jet. Thank you so much, Sylvia. Have a beautiful
Thanks,
weekend.
Sylvia. Glad you can make it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I'll just drop this in the chat. Yeah, code Facebook. Yeah, Lori, do you have any questions? You have some time if you want to use our expertise for anything at all.
I wish her mic was working.
Yeah. That's okay. We can make it work.
I really appreciated your energy, like nodding through it and like
Yeah.
letting us know that you're following. It's great. It's great.
Yes,
But
Jenny's
definitely send us an email if
she's
you have
typing
any other
something too
questions
right now.
too.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Lana?
Oh, yeah, no, just how one of your things for community building is encouraging people to like have their mics on and to participate and show emotion and how long that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have your email, so we'll be in touch and we can stay connected in that way. And yeah, check out that
Awesome.
episode with Laura Dawn. I think you'll really, really like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
thanks so much,
Thanks so much,
Lori.
Lori.
Have a great weekend as
Bye.
well.
Take care.
Bye.